Hello everybody, I hope you're doing well, because we are back. We are back for episode 100 of the Battleground and Beyond podcast. And you can find us on the links in the descriptions and bios down below. Whether or not you are listening or watching, or if you're listening through all the means of Spotify or it's SoundCloud or it's iTunes podcast, then there's a link for that. There's also links to myself and Dan, of Frontline MCOC, who you can find in the links in the bio. Make sure you follow and make sure that you bookmark Dan's site. And it's weird to say this, but we are back, Dan.
Rich, we're back.
We're back.
What happened to us?
What happened to us, indeed. There's gonna be like we'll kind of go over. We're gonna get back to our usual stuff, like just kind of look into things. And it's good because I think time being away, there's some really kind of like cool ideas for kind of new things that we can do on a monthly basis, like new seasons of Battlegrounds, to talk about good options for things we've tried, failed at, and stuff like that. So I think the future is bright for what we've got planned. I think like we'll go just quickly. Episode 100 was meant to be like a big episode for us, and I had with Dan pitched ideas to Kabam to have a special episode. We're still waiting for Kabam to come back to us essentially with it's weird. We've got 2 podcasts written for Kabam from a dev perspective and kind of like future of the game perspective and exclusives perspective, and then we've also got one written for Jax, both of which I really don't know. I can't stoke those fires again, but this is the problem we've had in the past where we've tried to like do big episodes and we've stoked fires to go, look, can we do something, and I don't know why we just never got a response back from Kabam on that subject. But we wanted to do something big for episode 100, but now it's come to the point where we just wanted to now just kind of get on with the podcast, and then whatever happens. But I think the next thing is we got to then talk about, well, one of the other reasons that we were both away for so long is our health.
It was a rough fall, rough holiday season for sure.
Yeah, I'll kick things off with yourself, Dan, because it's. Yeah, like I think it was. I just saw this message like, "Oh Christ, Dan's in hospital."
Yeah. It was a couple days after U.S. Thanksgiving, where I woke up in a tremendous amount of pain, and went to the hospital. Like I thought, I thought like an intestine had exploded or something.
Oh, no.
Like it was brutal. And then you get in there, you talk to doctor, and they're like, "I think you have kidney stones." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And of course, they based on what I was describing, and yep, they're like, "Okay, this one's probably too big to pass. So do you want to have the surgery?" And I was like, "Yep, let's get this sucker out." So yeah, I won't get into too graphic detail, but they put you under, and they put a laser inside you and disintegrate that sucker. And then you have a few weeks where you're just not feeling up to really doing anything other than laying down. So that kind of that really put me out for a couple weeks leading into the holidays, and then of course we had the holiday madness. But it really took me like about 6 weeks before I was feeling like myself again, and then I kind of had another mini episode with them this past weekend, which was not fun. Thankfully, the smaller one, so no surgery, but still not feeling 100% rich. So everyone's like, "Oh, I've heard it's the worst pain," and I'm like, "It is, it is the worst pain. Don't do that, guys. Stay hydrated.
Yeah,
it's not fun." And it's funny. The one thing they said I can't drink anymore is dark soda. Apparently, that produces a lot of kidney stones. So no more dark sodas. I'm good with the ginger ale. I can drink coffee, but no Coke or Pepsi anymore.
That's how's your like weight been? Have you kind of like plummeted a lot of weight off you and
I
stuff?
have probably lost about 10 pounds.
Oh Christ.
So, well, yeah, I mean, yeah, the pants are definitely fitting a bit looser. So I was probably like 185 pounds, and now I'm like 170, 175. So yeah,
Right.
I've definitely lost some weight because like you just can't eat when you're
Yeah.
going through this. Like you feel like the most full. Like if you have like a bite of a cracker, you feel like you're gonna throw up because you literally feel like you're to the brim with food in your digestive tract. So yeah, there's a lot of fun side effects beyond just the feeling like you got stabbed in the side.
Mm. Honestly, that's not
Yeah.
the especially like, I think having stuff over the winter period hasn't been just like
Yeah.
it's a great not great for like recovery because I'm not finding that I'm coping with cold as well as I have done in previous years, but I think that's because I lost a lot of kind of like weight all of a
Yeah.
sudden. So to kind of like put my particular stuff into perspective, like back through, the thing is, we haven't recorded in 3 months. I think I just looked, the 3 months was the
Yeah.
last time we recorded episode 99. That was around about the time. So I came back from a holiday at the latter point of September, and I got some sort of like gastroenteritis or whatever it was called, and I lost a good chunk of weight. I was already kind of focusing on losing weight in any case, but then I lost some further weight, and then I had to like try to regain that back, and I think I felt quite weak, and my immune system was kind of ruined through October, and then when we hit November, I went away for a holiday on my birthday, a small vacation, and picked up COVID for the first time, and then like the problem is when some people can get COVID and clear it very quickly. I got COVID and it pretty much ruined me, and not from like a doom and gloom kind of thing, but the problem with the after effects and kind of the effects that come with it can be pretty bad. Like I had lots of headaches. It took me 2 months to clear headaches. I would just wake up constantly with them. I'd have them at the back of my, but I had them like all over different places, centralized, and then I had one. It just felt like I was concussed a lot of the time, and that all cleared.
It's hard to do creative stuff when you feel like that.
Yeah,
which is tough when your whole job is being creative.
Yeah, it completely it kind of ruined my buzz because I had these massive plans for videos that I wanted to produce that were like really kind of fun stuff, and I've had to kind of like just not do them, and then think about like, okay, well, when do I want to start doing this again? And this is one of the reasons that I've decided to kind of change my setup, is so that I can kind of reinvigorate myself and just like help my brain, because I had my effects from COVID. I had panic attacks, and it was just stuff like things would spiral out of control with like my own kind of like mental state and mental health, and that took a long time to clear. Which then I wasn't sleeping as a result. I had hallucinations as well, which weren't great as from COVID. But also the other effects were I couldn't record content for a longer time without having throat pain as well. So my throat didn't properly recover, and I think this is the problem with having illnesses in the winter. For I mean, with yourself, Dan, it's like trying to not cope with kind of like getting through the festive period and stuff. It's like when it's cold, you don't tend to recover that quickly.
Yeah, and you can't just like go outside and like be in nature and like go for a walk and kind of do those like decompressing things that like I think are important for getting healthy and kind of bouncing back, right? You kind of feel like you're trapped in the house.
Yes.
So it's like that's like you said, it's like sort of issue on issue on issue that contributes to all these different problems, and it takes a while to recover from.
Yeah, it's taken three months nearly. So yeah, just about 3 months. So my sleep pattern's now back to normal because I was only getting about 2 hours sleep, and I was. This is the problem when you'll take, like people would say, oh, if you've got headaches, take paracetamol or take this and take this. I don't advise that, because you start becoming addicted to those things. It's kind of like the unnatural method of suppressing any kind of like issues, and I kind of stopped that very much into my process and tried to do it in a natural ways of dealing with my problems. So it was like now I'm kind of got, I'm getting 6 to 7 plus hours of sleep a night, which is just kind of like, I'm happy I'm back to that, because I remember the times where I just constantly would be going, the constant twitching that I would have in my eyes and stuff, because I was just not sleeping. I was taking sleeping tablets as well, and it just needs to go to a point where, and I think you don't have kids. Like, it's different when you got kids. Your sleep pattern's going to be interrupted regardless. But I'm not I want to get back to like how high functioning I am with a good amount of sleep. But
yes, we all need our sleep.
Yeah, and I just want to say now, it's like I feel that I'm pretty much there with getting back to normal. There's going to be some things where my throat is going to be scratchy, so I'm still limiting like how much videos I can record. And like there's stuff like today, I'm like, okay, I need to get a Thronebreaker guide done. I need to get a side quest like super counters video done, top 5 tips for the month. There's a passion project on Ultron Prime I want to make, and a featured 6-star opening, and all these things that I want to make. But then I have to say to myself, look, is this going to ruin you for the weekend, where I do try to take time off by kind of, you won't be able to speak, or you won't be able to talk because you'll have pain in your throat, and you'll have to have lozenges, and you have to be incredibly hydrated. I'm pretty hydrated. I have a good amount of like hydration on a daily basis. It's just then it comes to a point where your throat is, I don't know, my nowadays it gets scratchy. So I've been doing things like steam therapy and all that stuff. It's like, it's not, it's just a case of like I'm having to look after myself a lot more. And focus on other work, and focus on the work that I do for Final Strike Games as the games developer. So it's just a case of like management of things. Same thing with you. You got to do the management of you kind of have like, it's like, oh man, I really like a Coca-Cola or a Pepsi.
That mid-afternoon pick me up. that was a go-to. So it's we're all getting older, Rich. We all got to take better care of ourselves, and that's just the tricky thing is, I think, as you grow older, it's like you have to cut things, and you have to spend more time on maintenance, and you have to be things you took for granted. You're like, oh, I'll just be able to like grind through like 4 straight videos. Well, what if you can't? Then you got to make some choices, and you have to be really strategic about how you're planning out your day and what you're doing, and not pushing yourself too hard and paying for that on the back end. So I think that's the thing. You really, when they talk about working smarter, that's what it's all about.
I mean, it's one of these things where the summer months probably will be better for it, but it's winter now. Like in the UK, we just hit a slump of reducing down to a -1. It's like we're going in the minuses for a little time at the moment. It's not ridiculously cold, but it's kind of cold enough that, as well, our boiler broke several days ago, so it's actually just been fixed today, but I'm still feeling the chill. And that's the one thing, like I was like, oh great, I lost this weight in September, October time, and like, oh, I'm feeling really good. And it's like, well, then I lost a whole bunch of weight that I didn't really want to lose, and muscle and blubber, fat that I kind of like. Well, I kind of felt like it would have been great to have that fat to kind of see me through into the and bulk going into, say, the colder months. But because I didn't really do any kind of gains, or I couldn't eat very well, it just kind of like affected that. So it's damn cold. Bring on the warmer weather.
I know. We just went through a polar vortex here.
Oh yes, that was insane.
That was crazy. So, of course, my dad was in total dad mode, like just texting me like all these things I had to do, so my pipes didn't freeze. So it got down here to -9 Fahrenheit, which is like -23 for you in Celsius. So that was a 48 hours where you did not want to go outside.
No,
for sure. Now it's back to being pleasant and kind of actually a little warmer than normal for February in the Northeast. But that was a rough weekend of the polar vortex.
Yeah, something like straight out of Day After Tomorrow.
Yeah, for sure. And just everyone on social media the next day and sort of like the town groups was like, my pipes burst, I need a plumber, how do I fix this, how do I fix that? It's like people were just not prepared for that level of cold.
Yeah. Did you have any kind of do you have snow plows where you are?
Oh yes.
See that?
Yeah, I mean, I would say half of the people that have like a big pickup truck around here have a snow plow, and of course they have the big trucks. So the snow cleanup's not really an issue for us because we're in an area where we expect it, and the equipment's here, and we're prepared. If you get sort of further down south, like, and they get a surprise snowstorm, like they'll get an inch of snow, and they are toast because no one has the equipment to get the snow off the road.
Yeah, that's the same through the UK. Whenever we hit by snow, it's just there's no kind of like foresight from any kind of councils or government to put something in place. In any case, I think we've done a good catch up.
Yeah. So that's what happened with us, guys.
That's what happened with us. Yeah, I would hope that we can get a Kabam-based episode. I will stoke the fires again, but it's just a case of like me and Dan have tried. How many years? We've been trying so long to like get a Kabam member of staff to agree to come on. I think we've written a podcast back a long time ago that just seemed to go nowhere to be responded to.
Yeah, well, we did the one with Frenchie.
Yes, we did the one with Frenchie
2 years ago, and that was awesome. And actually, a lot came out of that, I thought, as far as game economy. And it was interesting to see bits of that go viral within the community. I am hopeful. I think I'm hopeful we can get Jax on. He seems to be getting a lot more out there and getting comfortable in the role. He's been there a while. He did that great hosting job last week with the champion choice reveal. So I'm hopeful that Jax, if you're listening, open invitation. We would love to have you on, buddy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's get it done. So, Rich, what's going on with you in the game? What have you gotten done? Who are you ranking up? What's going on?
Right. EOP. I decided to kind of get involved with that. The problem is every time I kind of say to myself, new content's out, and it's like it's got to be like, and everyone's like done it within the first day, and I'm thinking, oh God's sake, I'm not even ready.
They go so quick, Rich. They go so quick. I mean, God bless them, but I don't know how they do it.
No, I don't. I wouldn't have the time to sit down for the amount of hours that people. A lot of people had stashes ready, and I was like, ready.
Well, you do understand. Like I get it. The people at the very top who literally have nothing to spend those items on and are 100% complete on everything. What else are they gonna do?
Yeah, true. I just wish that, like, because what is it, December? I've said about this like a bunch, but like December had a huge like stash of like items and things, and it's just there was nothing to do back then. And then it's like January. We got Thronebreaker difficulty, and we've got EOP coming. It's like, right, okay. Damn, I have no stash for this. So it's like I had to like regain all the stash that expired, and just sad seeing goodbye to all those revives and health potions. But there's nothing you can do. I don't have the sigil as well. So EOP was the first thing that I decided to do. Well, recently I had some time. I went on a small vacation at the weekend and was like, do you know what? I've got some time. And the great thing when you've got a little bit of time, which is when it's scarce, is just do something that's going to be beneficial. So I went in and did that. That was rough because I used I would do a double objective because I wanted to save. I only want to do it 5 times. I think I will have to do it with the EOP thing because I did 2 objectives: double Scarlet Witch and Rogue. Don't know if I overly recommend it, but that was something. Rank up wise, Yeah, I mean, there's champions I'm ranking up for certain reasons and whatnot. Wiccan was just a recent rank 3, no, rank 2. I'm going to rank 3 though. I'm just about to open some 6-star features and see what I get from it. Some things will be prioritized for Battlegrounds metas, but that's one thing that I kind of like have a bit of a bugbear at the moment, is having to overly rank up stuff. Or kind of go, okay, good, this is good for this meta, but then am I going to use it for anything? And I know a lot of people do say, oh, you know, that's a great champion. And I do agree, there's some great champions, but a lot of the time it's all about sometimes ranking up champions for certain things. Like I might be like, I took Miles Morales up to rank 3 as a 6-star in preparation for the Spider-Verse EOP objective I'm doing. But, and you know, no disrespect to it, I won't be using him in any other piece of content. I won't find a need for the champion. For anything, I'm sure that people will say, well, you could do it there, use it in this. But it's like, for me personally, well, I kind of would use something else. So it becomes a bit of an issue when sometimes you're ranking up stuff for certain reasons. I like Cap Wilson. I recently ranked him up to rank 2, put him for the BG meta. Again, not to be rude, I'm not going to find any use or purpose for him. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. So that's really the thing nowadays, is my rank up seem to be kind of determined by either one specific piece of content, or it's a case I'm just following this Battleground meta of rank ups.
Just chasing the meta each month.
Yeah. You were doing Act 8.1, weren't you?
Yes. I managed to 100% 8.1.
Fantastic.
In the past I don't know how long ago I did it, past couple months, but managed to get it done. So 100% all of Act 7, 100% 8.1. So I'm actually really excited for 8.2, because this is the first time in a long time that I've been 100% the previous chapter.
Yeah.
When the next one drops, whenever 8.2 comes out. And I've actually gone back into Act 6, and I 100%ed Act 6.2.
Nice.
So I'm 100% 6.1, 6.2. I still have to do 6.3, 6.4, which is kind of my interim goal between now and whenever 8.2 drops.
Yeah.
And I know people say, oh, you could do Eternity of Pain, or you could do this or Gauntlet or that, and for rewards, and certainly they're correct from the reward standpoint. I don't know. I just story quest is important to me.
Yeah. As
a player, I want to be able to say when the game is done that I completed or fully explored the story quest. So
yeah,
I am spending the time to go back and do Act 6. I think I'm through the worst of it, because there's only 6 lanes in 6.3 and 6.4 in those chapters. So other than the Grandmaster, that will not be fun. But the rest of it should be manageable. And with the gates removed and the choice node, like, it's not that bad anymore. Like,
yeah.
You know, I was kind of playing through 6.2.5, and that has, you know, that Mordo boss that we all hated back in the day. And people are like, well, how is he now? And it's like, not tuned for a SIG 200 rank 4 Spider Ham. Like he wasn't built for that. You know, like he's fine. You can get him down 1-2 tries if you make a mistake and he just won't throw a special. But like it's not like it was before, where you're like, oh, I need 20 minutes to figure out the correct team to take through this gate. You know, that taking those gates out, as far as the 6-star gates and the class gates, like, really opens stuff up. And then with that choice node again, like, those health pools are not intimidating anymore. So you know, I know that the content probably hasn't aged well in terms of meta rewards. It just hasn't. But from a finding your fun, personal satisfaction standpoint, I want to do it. So definitely planning on getting that 100%, hopefully before 8.2 drops. We don't know when that's going to be. And other than that, like, just focusing on some rank ups. We're seeing that big push. You know, we're already seeing people get rank 5 champs. I'm not there yet. I don't know. Do you have a rank 5 yet?
No, not yet. That I'd have to be in top alliances, I think, in order to, or spent a lot of money. 2 things I'm not really interested in at all. But I do want to push for the. I think this is my goal, my target. I'm going to do an initial completion of Thronebreaker difficulty this month, and then put a lot of my effort into doing EOP. So I'm going to then start like farming level 1 revives from lower content and health potions from 22-hour events, and kind of like get locked into it, because I do want to get that as I'm now in my second year of non-spending in Marvel Contest. I want to make sure that I kind of get to that point of getting a rank 5 6-star before the release of Act 8.2. Now, there's rumors out there that it's out in April. I don't know that 100%, but what I do have is a target, and my target is 2 months. 2 months to do this particular content, and also farm units and use those units if I need them, because I did end up needing them for the previous EOP run I did, but it was a rough run, and there's easier runs to be had with the likes of the #robots. There's certain champions to acquire to make those runs better, and also there's better rewards that I would personally be chasing. So that is kind of my direction to go at the moment, and I was thinking about then going back to my my old 100%, not 100%, legit free to play account, which is my kind of baby account, and working through that. But I kind of thought, well, no, this requires more of my time to kind of devote to getting through EOP and the Karina's Challenges 3.0 and try and make those gains. So that I think is kind of like what I'm gonna aim for.
Nice. And do you have a champ picked out, or is it class dependent because of the catalyst?
I guess it will be, because like there's if I get a cosmic, I'll be like, oh, am I going to be doing? It's going to be Hercules, but I will.
It's going to be. Who are we kidding? It's going to be Hercules.
However, though, there is this moment of time where I'm just thinking, like, I was thinking about not the views, but kind of like the view and the views of the players going like, I can't believe Rich ranked up a King Groot to rank 5 instead of Hercules. It is tempting, Dan. It really is tempting.
Do it, Rich. First King Groot at R5. Make it happen.
That honestly, that's why I'm doing it.
That would be worth it.
That's what I'm so conflicted on with being a thing, because I know it will just wind people. It's so funny how much people get wound up about people's choices. Ridiculous. Like there's something in like a comment section of a video that last week that I got my friend Fist to come on the channel to open up some crystals, and there was somebody that literally said that they were offended because they didn't properly listen to it, but they were offended that even myself as well. I'm kind of like I've warmed a lot more to Venompool over Venom.
Interesting.
Yeah, and like we kind of like, I felt that we did a good job to explain what Venompool offered in difference to Venom, and it was kind of interesting because people were so. Well, that particular person, I don't know if anybody else was that kind of like cared about it, but I personally, I've my 5-star version, and this happens to a lot of players. If you've got a 5-star version of a champion, but you haven't picked up a 6-star version, you may kind of like go away from the 5-star one, because 6 stars you'll kind of chase meta and options.
Sure.
And we were kind of like talking about like where we use and how Venompool has been a like a go-to for things. And the last meta for Battlegrounds, Venompool became like that kind of go-to champion for me that really was so much interesting that I started kind of playing about with different content. I just thought, do you know what, I really enjoy this champion. And then it was like, I was just thinking to myself, like, well, what am I, if I was to get a 6-star Venom, how would it kind of factor into what I wanted to use? And it would be like, well, I'll just use it as a Spider-Verse counter. But then it's like, well, could I just use something with a rotation with Venompool? Especially because when you look at certain champions you face off against, like Penny Parker, for example, I'd be like, well, who do I really want? I might use Venompool more on this one. Yeah. And it's just like you start thinking about things a bit more, and it just puts you in that place. So, but as I always say, one man's trash in MCOC is one man's treasure. And that's
absolutely.
And then people go like, oh, no, this champion's not as good as this champion.
There's only 3 champions worth playing.
Yeah, exactly. If it's not Hercules and it's not Dr. Doom and it's not this one, then it's not nothing. No, people aren't like. I think that there are people out there that do understand. People like what they like.
Oh, for sure.
And also it changes. Like, is there Dan? Is there a champion at the moment that you are kind of like playing with, or you kind of like having regular rotation? You're like, do you know what? I really enjoy using this.
I would say Spider Ham he's a big one.
Yeah.
I will use any excuse to use Spider Ham, and he's one of those that I kind of ranked up just because I liked him, and then he turned out to be an answer to so much stuff in Act 7 and Act 8
Yeah.
with the taunts and the power stings, and there was a lot of content that was really geared toward his kit. So I think he's probably my favorite champion in the game right now. I mean, other than that, it's a lot of it is just who's been needed for AQ and Alliance War. So based on my lanes, a lot of Apocalypse and a lot of Kingpin. I will say Scarlet Witch Sigil is a champion I feel like I'm getting very good at this point. And I actually use her for Alliance Quest. And just that rotation of SP1, SP3, and then she just degens the crap out of the opponent.
Yeah.
Like, is very satisfying. So I've really started to enjoy playing her. She's another one that was kind of a fun one to rank up. Enjoyed the champion because of the show and sort of the story of Wanda, but have really gotten into her kit and have gotten around all those unblockable sheep places on the opponent.
Yeah.
So you're just kind of, I would say that's one that I'm enjoying a lot right now as well.
Fantastic. Well, I suppose because we've been away from the game for quite a bit. I guess we've got to quickly talk about the state of the game because we've not done a show for 3 months. Normally, like on a weekly basis, we kind of like dissect like what is kind of like going on with the game. And I know you've put notes about like three good and bad things at the moment. I guess like one of the big things that's happened this week is like a lot of reporting about input issues.
Yeah, that's sort of unfortunately reemerged this week. I haven't had too many issues with inputs. I would say the one thing is that my dashback is becoming a parry again.
Yes.
Which I don't like because I run the map 8 lanes where if you parry the opponent, the stun gets transferred to you.
Yeah.
So when that happens, it's very, very bad for me.
Yeah.
and I die. So I don't like that. I'm not having an issue with, I would say like dropped inputs or hits. And I'm on an iPhone SE, which I think is, from what I can tell, is one of the more reliable phones, but I'm hearing stories about people on iPhone 13, 14, like top of the line iPhones, having these disastrous sessions. So I don't know. Are you having issues?
Yeah, I really, depending on like what device. The point to say is like if you got input issues, make sure to kind of like let Kabam know, but be specific on where and how and what device and stuff, because it's helpful for them to get that feedback. The only other thing I would say with this is that each device you have a different experience with the game. For me, I'm on an iPad 2021. It's really weird because when you kind of like this device, I don't know if it feels like it's being overused or something. There's certain things that just at times don't really are not inputs are either dropped and responsive. Those two things. I mean, like you said, for me, swiping back and going to a block, so like swipe tap, just seems like the game doesn't really recognize it, and that's an issue. That's an issue when suppose you want to get away from special attacks, or say for whatever reason you're not very I mean, sometimes I'm not very comfortable in some projectile special attacks or energy based projectiles. So swiping back, going into a block, is kind of like a strategy of sorts that just allows me to kind of calmly deal with that situation. It's not the best way of dealing with it, but sometimes the consistency is not there on the response. I did a video when we're recording, so it's Friday, and also submitted into the Discord chat with Kabam about some evidence of situations of this. It seems like we've got something where if you get the enemy champion, the defender, against the wall and you try and swipe away from it, coincidentally, the footage that I've submitted showcases that when you try and swipe away, there's just nothing that works. There's no kind of response to the input. In my particular evidence, there's no kind of, I've not put that. You can see, like, you can track your kind of swipe on the screen movements. I can't remember what that's called. I'll probably come to it at some point. You see the dot, Dan.
Oh yeah,
that. So my friend Super on Super Debut on Twitter, he showcased a footage of that particular dot in motion, and you can see it swiping on the screen, so where he swiped with his thumb, and the champion breaks the block but doesn't move backwards. It just stands his ghost static as it gets hit. And that's I wouldn't say that's interesting. It is interesting, but it's something that a lot of players have been experiencing for a long time. I can't say that this is because of things have got worse when it comes to this update for certain players, devices-based response and input. But the problem we've had is, like, it's not been taken seriously. Not to kind of, like, give Kabam. I know that they do actively look into inputs, but it was kind of strange for me to see about a week to 2 weeks ago when Kabam Mike was asked about this particular scenario, these particular issues, his response was, "This is weird to me." I don't know if that was the right thing to say, and then kind of goes into like more like not dispelling it, but kind of saying it's more of a client-based issue, or saying it's a player-based issue, and it's odd. It's a lot of time mixed messages on those particular subjects. Because I do think that inputs should be always looked into on a regular basis, especially if we're looking at a situation here in February. Like, well, is something like this going to happen in March? A player's going to be experiencing difference in March. I don't really know. I mean, I'm glad that other players aren't experiencing lots of input issues, but I can't really kind of. I've seen evidence to say the contrary to that.
Yeah, I think that's the problem, is that it's super inconsistent. Yeah. So they've had a really, really hard time tracking this stuff down and replicating it. I think that's been one of the stories of MCOC over the past year or two, really, is sort of this transition to the things that are going wrong are inconsistent and have been hard for them to track down. Like, it's not like before where it's just like, hey, Alliance Quest isn't opening for anybody.
Yeah.
Or none of us have the side quest keys. And it's like, oh, okay, none of you have it. We can fix that.
Yeah.
But when was like, oh, well, I'm having this issue. Well, I'm not. Well, I'm sort of having this other issue, which might be related. Or you get into things like who got their Grandmaster keys and who didn't, or things like that, where it's really much more on an individual basis. I think that's kind of stuff has proven really, really difficult for them to solve.
Yeah. What about something good?
Something good. I think something good I want to talk about is this featured 6-star and the last featured 6-star, because I know for me at least, this was that last featured 6-star was the first time I really went heavy on featured 6-stars, and I felt like there was a big push in the community around that 6-star crystal. And as we know, some people get good pulls, some people get bad pulls. I managed to get all 6 of the featured champs and an OG Scarlet Witch out of the previous crystals, so that was excellent. I'm currently ranking up Quicksilver and Gallon, and I still have to work on the other ones. I still have to work on poor Scorpion because I need way more Science ISO than I have. But I think we've seen a lot of people take big steps forward with their accounts because of these 2 featured crystals.
Yeah.
With those champions, and now I have Spider-Man Supreme. I just pulled infamous Doctor Doom,
Nice.
or infamous Iron Man. I still think of him as Doctor Doom. Even.
No,
I know Iron Man.
I got I Doom.
I can't. Yeah, I Doom exactly. But we're seeing that these really good champions entering the game, then entering these crystals, making them into people's rosters, making them happy, helping them beat content. So that I really like. I really like that there's sort of a crystal excitement, because there hasn't been. I feel like that sort of lagged for a while. Like we remember back in the day when these new featured crystals would drop, whether they were champion specific or whatever, it was like this like tentpole release. So it's been fun to see the openings and people hyped about the crystals again and getting stuff that helps their rosters.
Yeah, I agree with that. That these champions are helping out. I think as well, it's a blessing and a curse having that Absorbing Man have the issue with the release schedule, because it's like it goes straight into the featured within what 2 weeks, 3 weeks since his early access.
Yeah, I mean, basically like a month at most. So yeah, not even a month.
Yeah. Okay. I want to do like this particular thing is a positive and a negative. It's kind of a double whammy, because the problem is it's like I'm even warming to it, and that is Battlegrounds. And so I'm really warming to Battlegrounds a lot more. But this is the problem with it. And as I keep saying, like, I love the mode. I think it's absolutely fantastic. But it's just not a case that it's in a great spot for dealing with bugs. There's always stuff like that.
It's not.
Kabam have, they're working on sorting out like cheaters and stuff like that, and that's great. It's so good that they're able to deal with and finding new ways. Obviously, there were some people that were mistakenly banned last season as a result of the new system in place. This kind of like anti-cheat system, which I'm surprised Kabam have put in an anti-cheat system. However, though, I don't know how it recognizes stuff.
They did make an anti-cheat higher, so you kind of wondered if this is sort of some unintentional fallout from that. Like you bring someone in, they put something new in the game, and unfortunately a couple people get caught up in it that shouldn't.
Yeah. I did get contacted by somebody this morning about a hacker had hacker was in. The thing is, I don't know. Like, I need to kind of like properly look into this, because the accusation is a 13-second takedown. However, though, I'm not to take it out of the realms of ridiculous, because if you use it's a ghost versus a Sasquatch, and no, actually it's a difficult one, because it's like, so this fight duration was 13 seconds. There was a KO on the defender Sasquatch, which I don't know the rank of, and it was like it's such an odd one. On paper, some of these fights say like, yes, this points to a cheat, but then it's hard to know. Some people
it is. Some people can do some crazy, incredible things in this game.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree with you about Battlegrounds. Like, I love the gameplay and I want to love the mode. It's just when the cheating is one thing, the bugs. I haven't had any of the really bad bugs in a while, but I know the people that just like auto lose the matches, or the game crashes and then they lose. That kind of stuff is really, really rough, and is very punishing in a game mode where you can actually go backwards by losing. Like whether you're in the victory track or the gladiator circuit. I haven't made gladiator circuit, but I mean, if you lose, you're going down in rating and you're losing position. So losing feels really, really bad in Battlegrounds, and particularly in the victory track. Like, I just find it's super punishing, because say you're trying to to climb up the victory track. I mean, you start off, she's like, okay, I got to win 2 to get out of whatever is bronze or whatever, move up to the next level. It's like, okay, you can win a game, and then you can be in the third and final fight of the second one, and if you win, you're moving up, and if you lose that individual fight, you are starting over. And that part just feels so terrible to me right now that I can't go all in on Battlegrounds like I would kind of like to, and I think the game warrants. I mean, I feel like we've been in this sort of persistent beta where it's like, okay, we're fixing some stuff, we're tweaking this, like it still feels very beta to me, and I really need Kabam to give me a reason to like really feel confident in the mode. The thing with the matchmaking for me is the biggest drawback, where the feeling that the matchmaking is not fair and that everyone can't, it's exactly like the issues we were running into in Alliance War when it was prestige based, where it's like, oh, you've basically got people competing for the same rewards on different tracks, but it's all hidden. That part I find really, really distasteful. Like I feel like they got a lot to sort out there as far as matchmaking, making it fair, and particularly at the beginning of the season is so brutal, where it's like, why are we resetting everybody to square 1-0? Like, why are the people who made the top of the gladiator circuit in bronze 3, like, what do they need to prove? That they can get out of victory track? Well, they don't need to prove that. Like, Legacy and Karate Mike don't need to prove that they're suddenly terrible like a week later. It's not like there's been some big layoff. So that's the thing, is like, why are we putting these great players that have literally proven in the mode that they deserve to be in Gladiator Circuit and high up in Gladiator Circuit back in Bronze 3? Like, that seems like that's a waste of their time, and that's a waste of the time of the people they're crushing on the way up. I would like to see a more thoughtful track.
That's nail on the head. It's time, really. The time investment that you have to do to get. I think the other day I had I was preparing for something, and I was looking at the amount of fights, and you would have to get, I think it was consistent, like 40 plus fights won in succession to get from Bronze 3 to Vibranium, or go into the Gladiator Circuit. I can't remember if that was the case, but still, like, you have to say, like, am I really going to win 43 fights on the bounce? Like, it's just not going to happen.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then when you start like totting up the time, and it's like, okay, well, I lost, and then you look at investment, like energy investment, Elder Marks investment, coupled with other things like, okay, if I don't win, then it's a problem. If I hit a bug, and for me, I hit so many bugs in season 4, I felt that, and it kind of like ruined my kind of interest with it, because I was like, well, screw this. If I'm going to get bugs each time, that the instant loss bug, then I'm just going to go and play something else. And I'm glad in some ways I did, because then I was able to focus on my EOP. But I already kind of invested about 5, 6, maybe even 7 hours last season into the season 4. I'm glad I did, because it was my first kind of like big push into it. But I kind of felt like I could have been getting the thing is, I have to say, like the rewards are great if you get the trophy tokens and then use them as currency to then buy whatever you want, and that's fantastic. Love that. That's great, Kabam. Well done, thumbs up. But it does come with a mode, because I'm then like, well, I could have been that time. I could have grinded out arena, grabbed more units, or grabbed more items for more EOP runs. I probably could have collected in 6 hours enough to do another EOP run. So you kind of make these allowances for shifting your interest. Well, it is interest, because it's up to you what you do in Marvel Contest of Champions. The problem is, it's like, in some ways, if you don't have a lot of time, there's a lot to do in Marvel Contest. But if you have a lot
more to do than ever.
Yeah, if you've got a lot of time, I'm now thinking like, oh Christ, I forgot to put on my my MCOC job list, which I have an MCOC job list.
Of course you do.
In order to find out like what I'm doing. I
know.
I forgot, like, oh, this weekend it was incursion reset on Top Zone bonus, or it's Top Zone bonus reset Saturday.
Yeah, coming today. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm like, criminy, I need to kind of get that done. And it's like you just say to yourself, like, and for me, I will do zone 7, 8, 9 because I need the incursion artifacts and also shards. So I'm like, oh, crime. There's a lot to do, and you have to like allocate your time so specifically to stuff. So, and you're right. If you could save time on that victory track grind by all the other factors, facing off against people with bad matchmaking and other stuff like that, then it just would be so much better for that particular time investment to what you get out of it in Marvel Contest in general. But it's a great mode. It just needs work.
It still needs a lot of work, but there's so much potential there, and the strategy is great. And I do like trying to solve the meta, and I was initially very frustrated with last season's meta and took a pretty long break from it, but people did put out some very interesting guides, and I learned to appreciate champions like Red Goblin, who were not penalized by the meta, and so there is a lot of good that comes out of the meta and the rewards. Being able to get 6-star SIG stones for free instead of paying $50 for 10 of them is a pretty good quality of life improvement. I really see the potential of the mode and want it to reach that potential, which is really the source of my frustration with it now.
Yeah, the thing that I get, like the metas, I do like the metas. Like a lot of people go, I see people on forums like, this meta's terrible, or the last meta, that's terrible. For me, looking at it, I don't think it's terrible. I think the problem that players have is the ability to rank up champions to a certain potency that they can use within the mode to then counteract the meta, have as defensive attacking options. So that's a problem, because then essentially you're like, right, well, I'm going to have to thrust in 5 new champions into my deck. But if you're fielding, I've only got a 5-star version, then you're fielding a rank, and you can't rank anything up. You are forced to then go, I'm going to have to get rank up items. I'm going to have to rank 1 to 5, a 5-star version, and put that as a defensive option.
It's super expensive, and I mean, if you're really doing it on a 6-star level, you say, okay, I've got let's say last season, right? You had like a rank 1 Red Goblin. You're like, I'm really going to need this guy this season. And you're like, I'm going to take him up to rank 4. It's like, that's super expensive. And you could, all right, maybe you can do that once. But if you're like, hey, like, I need to retool this whole deck. I have 20 that work and I need 10 new ones. Like, where's all that gold coming from? Because I don't have it.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It puts it into shortages, gold shortages, rank up, tier 5 basic shortages. And the thing is, and this is the strange thing. It's like players are affected from Cavalier progression level all the way up to Paragon. There'll be Paragon players going like, I've got a 6-star version, but I can only rank to it because I've just ranked up a load of champions in a featured, or I'm ranking up certain champions to take on EOP or whatever from a top level. Same for the bottom level, going, I need to get this champion ranked up to take on this specific, that's the keyword, specific content. So you have what's the word?
Specificity.
That's it. Rank ups for one thing, for another, and for another. So you're like, this is like the biggest call ever for Kabam to go, look, love the idea of Battlegrounds, it's fantastic, but you need to thrust in more rank up resources into other areas. Improve the glory store so it's just like it's a little bit more spicier. Add other stuff in so you can just get more rewards.
Yeah, I think we're all facing different limitations with resources right now. Like, I'm getting a ton of tier 2 alpha and tier 5 basic. I play map 8, so I'm getting those things. But and they're in the overflow. Like, I have to be careful that they don't expire. And my issue is having the gold and the tier 4 class catalysts to utilize those resources. Like, I can't believe I'm at the point where I'm spending gold on gold crystals in the glory store, and I'm pretty much buying the you can buy like one specific class catalyst a day in the glory store. Rotates through, so I'm always buying that, and then I'll buy a couple of the randoms before the the price spike. So, a couple months ago, basically it was tier 4 basic I was super short on. That was what was holding up my rank ups. But now it's really gold and to a lesser extent T4 CC. And it's like, I just can't believe I'm struggling for these resources. Like, gold has always been somewhat of an issue, but there's been ways around it. Right now, my situation is feeling quite dire, and I purposely play content. Like, I'll play the side quest over the event quest because there's more gold that you can gain quickly in the side quest, which is great. But I mean, I must be burning 2-3 million gold a week between map 8 and the rank ups and just making sure these resources don't expire.
It is a weird state to be in with MCOC and the kind of the shift in it, because there's times we've gone through, there has been a tier 5 basic shortage, or there's been a gold shortage.
It moves around and it's going to. I get that. It's just the gold thing is really weird. Because you think of what we used to spend on tier 2 alphas or tier 5 basics, and now they're at the risk of expiring. Or even like rank 4ing a 6-star doesn't use tier 2 alpha, and I'm kind of like, oh man, like I need to burn these tier 2 alpha, but I also want to rank 4 Quicksilver.
Same. I'm in the same boat. I just checked my stash and I've got a ton of tier 2 alpha in there, and but I'm trying to save up to rank up something from the featured 6-star. But then it's like I'm looking at it going, oh man, I've got to be careful again, like what I'm ranking up for Battlegrounds versus what I might be doing a see a need, fill a need with another one. So but I can only make one of those decisions. I think I've got enough to rank up 2 rank 4 6-stars, but I've got to be careful. Especially like the reasons as to why I'm ranking them up, and I know that like one may be going for Alliance Wars defense, one may be then going into or then the other one will go into Battlegrounds, but then the others I might have to bring some up to rank 3 as a 6-star to at least be competitive within the space, especially when I get to further levels with Battlegrounds. So it's such a difficult game to play with preparation for this. Ah, dear. Right, Dan, what else? Like we're gonna come to the end of the podcast.
Well,
we're coming close to the hour.
I think one other thing I'd like to talk about, just real quick, and it ties into Battlegrounds, is Relics.
Yes.
And the Relics rollout has been a bit confusing.
Yes.
Because I feel like they undershot the power of Relics to such a degree because they didn't want to upset the ecosystem, that they are so underpowered that no one can notice them, which is one problem. But I think the other problem is just, and I noticed this on Twitter because I put it out there when Relics went live in Alliance Quest. It's like, how are we feeling about this? And no one has anything good to say about it.
No.
And there is a lack of engagement. People are just straight up ignoring them. Like, just they're not ranking them. They're not adding them to their champions.
No,
they're
I'm
just,
not.
Like, these don't exist, which is amazing. We've never seen anything like this before.
Yeah, it's kind of like backfire from a Kabam. I'll read you out something because I was going to cover this in I might even kind of do this as a separate MCN type thing, but this is what Kabam Jack said on behalf of the team. Said, firstly, Relics were introduced to the game with the express purpose of being lower impact. If they were a must-have right out the gate and completely changed the game, the community would riot. We also didn't want anyone to feel like the roster they've developed was dwarfed in relation to this new addition. The Relics rewards tied to solo objectives have been added to each month's side quest. They're not replacing anything you would have otherwise received, anything redistributed. This again is so that you don't want them, you don't have to do the content. I know we've discussed it recently, the shift where MCC is growing into a game where you cannot feasibly do everything each month. Yes, the further emphasizes this. I know causes discomfort for some, but again, you're not losing anything by relics being added into the game. So Kabam was saying they're irrelevant, but they're in the game, so they're relevantly irrelevant.
Yeah, that's confusing to me from a business standpoint, right?
Yeah.
Like, this is supposed to be this big feature, get the player base excited, and you would think there needs to be some sort of ROI on the dev time that was spent on this. Like, they are selling crystals for units, You would think that there will be content that will be released that showcases the relics more than side quests. It's like there has to be a reason that we want to go get these kind of things.
Yeah.
If they're going to take up all that space and time in the game. So I am curious to see where we're going to go with this. Like there may be a thought that when 5-star relics and eventually 6-star relics become more accessible in the game, that the problem naturally solves itself. And based on what they're saying, I feel like that's what they think. But we don't know. And we don't know if that's going to be the reality until they actually give us those things.
Yeah, I'm looking at it, like, from my perspective, like, I find they're fun. They're an extra layer, but the problem that I have is, like, when you're trying to manage your own roster with other stuff, it's like adding another manageable layer to, like, your Marvel Contest of Champions just playing thing. And I'm just like, the thing is, I have as I said, the MCOC job list, and on there is just like, spend more time dealing with relics. And I will be honest, I have not found any time to go, let's add an extra layer of complexity to what I do at the moment. And I'm not
and you got to tell your embers apart from your alloys. And I think a lot of people looked at the terminology and they're just like, no, I can't learn this.
No, you kind of look at this as being like, you could make it really simple, just going like relic rank 1 gem, and it's just like, that's how you do it. You don't have to worry about embers or alloys. It's just a case of like, they got that as saying in management, like KISS, keep it simple, stupid. And it's just like, that's how you do it. There's like people around the world going like, I've got to do my embers to the thingy-my-jobs. I've got to unbind my doodah to the what's-it. I've got to add a rune to my doodah. I've got to also collect other starage rarities of these particular relics, and more are being added in. So expect 230 whatever it is times 3-star, 4-star, 5-star, and 6-star. So times 4 different types of starage level rarities for these particular things.
It's only 920 or so relics to collect, Rich.
Yeah, it's not like we needed that extra element.
It'll be fine. It'll be fine.
Yeah. So it's. I feel the way that Kabam look at these is like there's a lot of effort to them, but maybe if like this is something that from a top level perspective are saying, Kabam devs, build this into the game. We need to get people spending on these particular like new things we're adding in order to generate more income. And maybe because it's like because they've been given tasks with such difficult thing to do. And I'm not saying that maybe they're like, we'll just give it like not much effort to deliver this. It's a case of sometimes if you've been forced to do something and you're having a hard time trying to thrust it into the eco space of a game like this, you kind of go, this is odd. I mean, could they have done something where it was like, instead of having it, because we knew we were getting strikers, wouldn't it have been better just to kind of like say like, okay, well, what you do is you add in a striker as that, and that's it. Like, there's no other effects to it. It's just strikers come in to help you out with something. And I thought strikers would be something where they would create something a bit more like okay, so you've got a champion that's Hulkbuster, for example. It's not a Incinerate immune champion, but if you add this striker, you create a Incinerate immunity to something. I don't know. It's something a bit different than what is on the table, but it's like, I do not know what the future holds with this. I know that Kabam is still looking into relics, but I think so much more needs to be done with this. They need to do something to get the excitement going, so there's actually some conversations about these other than the post every week on the forums. It's just like, does anyone use relics? I don't like relics. Like, if that's the only thread about this major initiative in the game, like that can't be a good sign. Yeah. I mean, I've got 10 relics unbound at the moment from champions. Yeah. And I always say to myself, I would need to experiment with this, and this. And again, it's like, I do not have the extra time. And if Kabam are even admitting to, it's discomfort that not every player can complete everything, but also not every player has the time to thoroughly manage their relics as well as their champions, which require signature levels improving, rank ups, and tending to, when it comes to taken into this different content, it's like adding extra complexity, and it's not unneeded complexity. It's, well, in some ways it is it's unwanted and unneeded complexity to the ecosystem, which Kabam could have done a better job with something maybe a little bit different, that you could manage effectively, not have to feel like you're going to chase something else that seems like another champion, but hopeful for the future. We've got to be hopeful.
Hopeful for the future. There is, it seems like, as always, despite the problems, there's a lot to look forward to, and that is fun in the game right now. So
yeah,
we focus on those things and move forward as always, Rich.
Absolutely. I think at that point, that's a good way to end. What are you planning to do? Hoping to do this week?
Got to work on this side quest, a little more of Act 6.3, and hopefully it will be less than 3 months between our next podcast.
Absolutely. Hopefully we can get a regular weekly recording, and hopefully we can get Kabam Jacks. I'm going to stoke that fire as soon as we end the podcast.
Stoke it, Rich.
I will definitely stoke it. We've got to do it. You can catch myself and Dan on the links in the bio. Dan on frontline.mcc.home.blog. Links always in the description. Make sure you make it your homepage to be regularly updated, and as well on Twitter for all like stuff that's going around with the MCOC content and community. Also, you can check out the podcast and links in the bio. Just like it, follow it, and we'll see you all soon. Goodbye, everybody.